Hey guys, Hikari dude here, coming at you live from our house. Why did you get rid of the webcam window?
Okay, well, Son of Batman. Now, before I start this, I feel the need to preface this by saying, well, the last DC animated movie I watched didn't really go so well. In fact, at the time, I declared it, and I stand by this, by the way. At the time, I declared it the worst DC animated movie I'd ever seen, which attributed to my shock and my continued surprise that it actually got pretty good reviews. I mean, generally.
Which movie?
Justice League War. I could not stand that movie, mainly because of the script, and Heath Corson's script. Oh my god. So,
Son of Batman.
Son of Batman, I was not really looking forward to this one quite as much because it was another New 52 story. And considering the limited exposure I've had to the New 52, Justice League War, I was not exactly looking forward to this, mainly because it takes place in the same universe, supposedly, as Justice League War. So that being said, I liked it.
I thought it was good.
I mean, it's not great by any stretch, but I think it's perfectly watchable.
It's the thing about this movie is that you have to be in the right mood to watch it.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's one of their. It's definitely one of their good Batman features. Would it have probably reached a wider audience if it had been about another character besides Batman and or Superman and or the Justice League? Probably. But then again, sales don't lie, and DVD sales don't lie. Wonder Woman did not sell as well as Batman, Superman, and the Justice League, so I guess that was their only indication. But enough of that. The story this time around,
it's about Damian Wayne.
Batman learns that he has fathered a son with Talia, the daughter of one of his greatest enemies, Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, Talia al Ghul, the princess person of the League of Shadows.
Yeah, for the past several years,
they have been on a war. They have been in a war with
No, they haven't.
Okay, fine.
Now shut up. Now, for the past several years, Damian has been trained to eventually take over the mantle of the League of Shadows, or the League of Assassins.
That's something that I wanted to talk about, so just continue. But
well, before he can complete his training, the temple. Will you quit it?
I can't see your eyes.
Too bad. Before he can complete his training, Damian and the other members of the League are
attacked,
assaulted by a group of mercenaries
led by Deathstroke
and traitors led by Deathstroke, another Batman adversary. And apparently, in this universe, Deathstroke was originally going to be trained to become the leader of the League of Shadows, but he basically got spurned when Ra's al Ghul didn't really like his tendencies, and because he hasn't really got any code of honor, and also because Damian was born. And since Damian is the son of Batman, well, no, they say that Deathstroke was originally slated to become the leader until Ra's al Ghul met Batman.
I guess he wanted to make Batman the leader, and then when Damian was born, he wanted to make Damian the leader.
Yeah, because Batman has turned him down on multiple occasions because the League of Shadows is not afraid to commit mass genocide. But yeah, that sets the basic gist. Talia brings Damian to Gotham to A, meet his dad, and B, be in a safer place while she tries to deal with Deathstroke. Ra's al Ghul
is off in the
dead.
first 10 minutes.
Is dead, yeah.
He gets burned alive, can't make it to the Lazarus pit. So sad, da 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 da.
Alright, so first of all, Jason Momoa returns as Batman from Justice League War, and he was one of the only good points in Justice League War. And I think he gives an even better performance here, honestly.
Because he has more to work with.
Honestly, I think Jason O'Mara is right up there with the great Batman voices like Kevin Conroy, Peter Weller, Bruce Greenwood. He's one of my favorites, honestly, and that's not just because I like Jason O'Mara as a screen actor. No, he makes a really good Batman. You can't even tell that he's Irish.
He's Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was good. I do. Shut up. I do prefer Peter Weller, the older Batman. Just because that movie was so awesome.
Yeah, in no way does this beat Dark Knight Returns.
Not a chance.
Or Batman Under the Red Hood, come to think of it.
But anyway, I do like this one because it captures the.
It puts the character in a new situation.
Yeah, it sounds more like a voice that a normal person would have, as opposed to the Batman. And Batman and Bruce Wayne is supposed to be more of a normal person. He's supposed to be a little bit more fatherly. You see him more as a business person in this one. Remember that one scene?
Yeah, well...
Yeah, so you could buy that he was a business person. And he also act as Batman, and he does all three extremely well. So, I do like him. I wouldn't put him up there with people like Kevin Conroy, but...
Oh, I would. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, Kevin Conroy is still best, but Jason O'Mara is...
I'm the best at what I do.
Jason O'Mara is really, really good. I would even argue great. So, Morena Baccarin as Talia. Again, she's good.
She's good.
She's good. She's not exactly one of my favorites, and that might be...
That's the only time I've heard Talia on screen, so...
Well, I've heard many iterations of Talia, and... Stana Katic was pretty good in Arkham City. At least she put on an accent, and at least she actually sounded a little mysterious, and that I think is the biggest drawback to Baccarin's performance, is that she doesn't really sound very exotic.
Part of it is because you have to see a lot more of her, so she's not really that mysterious.
Well, I mean, there's just no mystique to her voice. I mean, there's just no...
Well, she's not blue.
She sounds normal.
So? She's a person. She's a human being.
Let me put it this way. That's not the right word. She sounds a little too national. She sounds a little too American, and that's not...
Well, given the fact that
fit the character.
Whatever.
Although she does do a good job. I mean, she's not miscast or anything, or at least not completely. She's just not one of my favorite Talias.
I like her. She was good. You don't really see enough. You don't really see enough of her, or at least when she's talking, to really get a good feel of her personality, other than her actions. But
Stuart Allen, some kid named Stuart Allen voices Damian Wayne, and when I heard, I'm not gonna lie, when I heard they were bringing a kid into the voice cast instead of maybe just casting a female voice actor, I was like, oh, really?
This guy, you were dead wrong.
I was. I mean, this kid
has talent.
I don't know what Stuart Allen has been in, but good God, is he awesome in this movie? I mean,
But of course, he plays
every single scene straight. He plays it completely straight.
Yeah, he doesn't overact like most kids do, or underact.
I mean, you never doubt for a second that this is one very damaged kid. I mean,
and
he has no social skills.
And you could also tell that he is very determined, and he will do anything to avenge his father.
But at the same time,
his leader.
At the same time, Stuart Allen's voice sounds useful enough that you never really forget that. Yeah, this is a kid. I mean, he's very intense, but the fact that they did get someone as talented as Stuart Allen, who is a kid, or at least to my knowledge, he has a very nice youthful intensity.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think of Nightwing?
You don't really see much of him.
You don't see much of him, and from what I saw, he was okay. Nightwing, in terms of performance, he was okay. I mean, he wasn't...
No, I think every Nightwing I've ever seen has always been at least good, passable.
Yeah, my favorite is still Lauren Lester in Batman the Animated Series.
Mine is either this or Teen Titans.
Yeah, well, again, they don't really give him much to work with, and he's not exactly... He's kind of a comic relief character, almost. But
he's the person that works off of Damien's snide attitude.
Alright, so Giancarlo Esposito as Ra's al Ghul. He's not really in the movie
Why are you
much.
talking about him before Deathstroke?
Well, Well, because Deathstroke sucks. Anyway, whatever. Giancarlo Esposito. I'm not gonna say that he would have been my first choice for Ra's al Ghul.
I don't know who would play. I think they should have gotten the person that played him in Arkham City, because I didn't get that far.
D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah, I think he was good. I think he was good as Ra's al Ghul. I think he did a good job with the intensity and that, and
well,
they kind of kept the design.
Esposito does too. I mean, he sounds intense. He sounds kind of exotic, but again, he just sounds
natural.
Well, no, he sounds a little too
Hollywood-y.
Well, it sounds like he's trying to put on an accent. It sounds like he's trying to be exotic, and I don't really think that's the point of Ra's al Ghul. He sounds... He doesn't really have the charisma of someone like Jason Isaacs in Under the Red Hood, or David Warner in the animated series. So, again, he wasn't bad, and I can definitely understand the thought process behind casting him, but let's just say that I'm kind of glad that he didn't really get too much more time as the character, because he was good, but I wasn't really sad to see him go.
Alright. So, the big one, the villain, the main villain...
I gotta see who plays this guy.
Deathstroke.
I gotta see who plays this guy, because I think he's a TV star.
Deathstroke. He hates him. I think he's okay.
Hang on.
Deathstroke. D-E-A...
Deathstroke is played by Thomas Gibson. Okay.
Never heard of him. Dude, keep talking. I'll look him.
No, he
was in Lincoln.
Okay, stop. We're not looking at this guy's entire filmography. Thomas Gibson, he's... you know what? He captures the I'm trying to think of the word. He captures the intelligence of Deathstroke, okay? I mean, he's certainly very articulate in his performance, but he has no intensity. I mean, whenever he's talking about killing Damian or killing Batman or taking over the League, I didn't buy it because he doesn't sound intense. He doesn't.
You mean intimidating?
He doesn't sound intense. He doesn't sound intimidating. He doesn't. Whenever they were facing off against him, I was like, okay, come on, this guy is not exactly a very good villain. Can you imagine how much better this movie would have been if they had cast Ron Perlman as...
Is that the one from Teen Titans?
Yes, Ron Perlman as Deathstroke.
Well, the script didn't call for it, first of all, so shut up. Second of all... Okay, actually, expanding on my further point, the Deathstroke in Teen Titans, or Slade, whatever you want to call him, had a chilling atmosphere. This Deathstroke is not chilling. He was much more bombastic, brawler.
Yeah, but even then he wasn't good at
I
it.
agree with you that they needed a more intense actor for that kind of thing. But for what he was given and for those few scenes that he does give in his right mood, I think he does well.
I just didn't like him in this movie. I just thought he made Deathstroke such a weak villain, especially in comparison to past iterations. Oh, let's see.
Can we talk about the big problem before we get into the story?
What problem is that?
Damian is too invincible.
Well, that's kind of part of the story. Well, first of all, the animation is still top-notch. I mean, you're not going to have to worry about the animation here. Gotham looks really good.
Every DC movie has good animation. Let's leave it at that. Okay. The fight scenes are good, by the way.
Fight scenes are always good.
But they're way too cartoonish in this one. Remember when Damian was fighting the henchman guy? The big one?
Ubu?
Yeah. There's this big, Hulk-sized guy, and Damian overpowers him. And Damian's 8.
Okay, well, here's the thing. And this is a recurring problem in all of the movie. I understand that this kid has had some very intense training, and he's a lot stronger and a lot more deadly than a lot of other people. But, honestly, he physically should not be able to overpower someone like Ubu. I mean, I can understand him being more skilled with a sword than Ubu, but when they're in a contest
of strength,
when they're clashing swords and trying to overpower each other, he should not be able to get the best of Ubu. And he sends Ubu running away like a little girl. This guy who's about 3 times his size is just running away from this kid. And that's kind of a recurring problem, because this kid demolishes Ubu, he demolishes Deathstroke,
He doesn't demolish Deathstroke,
Yeah.
but he almost beats Nightwing.
You know what would have made this movie more interesting?
What? Damien wasn't so fucking invincible.
Freaking, sorry.
Just bleep that out.
Well, what would have made this movie so interesting is if Ra's al Ghul didn't die.
You said you wanted him to die.
Okay. Recast Ra's al Ghul and
do.
keep him in the movie.
Sounds good.
Because that way we would actually get more of a physical representation of the conflict in the character of Damian Wayne, whether or not he should kill, because Batman's telling him he shouldn't, and Ra's al Ghul would naturally tell him he should. So we would have two sides to the argument.
Yeah.
Instead of oh, Ra's al Ghul, he's dead. One of Batman's longest running adversaries, he's just dead. Now, what would have also made this movie better is if Deathstroke actually wanted to kill Batman instead of Damian. But then again, Damian did take his eye.
Yeah. I think I agree with you, but at the same time, I think they spend the first 20 minutes just setting up Damien's relationship with his father. Or his grandfather, sorry.
Yeah, then he's gone without comment.
But I think what would have made this movie a lot stronger is if they had more scenes of Batman actually acting like a father towards Damian. Because that's what he is.
Those are the best scenes.
Yeah.
Where they're just talking.
They're not superheroes, where they're not like a League of Shadows member and Batman. Just where they're normal people and they're trying to get along.
Well, that, and they mention how Damian is kind of the spitting image of
Batman,
of Bruce Wayne at that age. Now they do kind of address this very subtly, but I think it should have been elaborated upon a bit more. In that Bruce Wayne sees his younger days, his 10-year-old self, as basically the most innocent point in his life. Now think of some kid. Think of his son who looks just like him at that age.
Who is this bloodthirsty
who has
monster.
adopted this very brutal lifestyle, and I think addressing that. Sorry, I got the hiccups. I think addressing that would have really made this movie from a script perspective more of a personal story for Batman, and instead of what we got.
He's trying to mold Damian into a more innocent kind of person.
Yeah, instead of what we got, which is a Damian story with some scenes of Batman participating in his development.
I did it.
So, but overall, I like the movie.
I think they could have focused a bit more on Batman, but
And
like you said,
in his relationship with Damian, I think the whole Man-Bat thing felt kind of
rushed and
it felt kind of forced. I mean, it felt like an excuse not to have a more personal story.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, it was actually really good. Definitely not as good as some of the other DC films, but I do think it was better than Wonder Woman, and I do think it was better than Batman, Superman, Apocalypse. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Anything you have before we go to spoilers?
Once again, my faith in Warner Brothers Animation is restored. I mean, I'm just gonna say that Justice League War was a fluke.
Like a bad start.
Yeah. It's just a blemish on an otherwise pretty solid track record.
So yeah, I'll probably give it a 7.
I don't give scores.
Okay, fine. Sourpuss, you would give it an 8. So yeah, I guess we're going to spoilers now. So yeah, if you want to watch it real quick and then come back, just do that. So first, in the final fight, I think it's ridiculous that Damian actually beats Deathstroke.
Well, that final fight, that whole scene was pretty far-fetched.
Because not only is Damian 8, And not only has Deathstroke received the same, if not harder, training than him throughout his life,
He's got the size advantage.
he's got the size, the strength, and the skill,
Stamina, yeah.
the stamina, to beat Damien. But Damien just kind of...
He plows through every single thing that Deathstroke has. Deathstroke is a wuss in this one.
Yeah, Damien gets his arm stabbed through. He just
Both of them. Both of his arms.
Yeah. They like get pinned like by the swords into his arm through to the other side. Damien just kind of pushes his arm through, pulls the other sword out, then pulls the other sword out, and he just fights like none of the injuries ever happened.
Yeah.
That was a major problem, I think.
And it contributes to the whole Damien is too invincible argument that we had, but
I didn't like that Talia got kidnapped.
she was kind of a useless character, and again, there were problems with this story.
She just serves as like a damsel, and I don't think that's what Talia should be.
Well, what else kind of peeved me? Well, when the one time Deathstroke actually... The one time he actually fights Batman, or he actually comes into a physical confrontation
That
with
was
Batman.
really disappointing, too, that he didn't actually fight him. Because that would have been really interesting, like, if Damien had to face the fact that he couldn't beat him and allow Batman to get his revenge for him. And Batman not killing him, even though Damien really wants him to.
Yeah, but Batman just completely destroys Deathstroke when they fight. Deathstroke doesn't even get to throw a punch. When he throws that smoke bomb or something, when he arrives at the cave on the oil rig, whatever. But aside from that, the fight scenes, as ridiculous as they could get, specifically with the Damien character, they were well executed. They were suitably brutal.
They were not afraid to pull... They did not pull punches in this one. I will say that much.
Yeah, they were well laid out.
They were using swords. You cannot pull punches if you're making a movie about swords. With swords.
Yes, you can.
Okay, Wolverine does not count. Or X-Men Origins Wolverine. Sorry.
I was gonna say any number of the Disney movies with swords.
Oh, those don't count. They're not real swords. Shut up! Anyway.
Well, Son of Batman, it's a decent one. Not one of their best, but again,
I think it could have been a lot
decent one.
worse.
It could have been a lot worse, but
Like,
it also
if they
could have
made
been a lot better.
Damien really annoying, like, he's cocky, but he's not too cocky to where it gets annoying.
Yeah, and I honestly wouldn't mind them doing a follow-up of this, if like having him interact with some of Batman's villains, because Joker and Two-Face make cameos in this. And they're blink and you miss it cameos. Batman is walking through Arkham Asylum to interrogate Killer Croc, which, by the way, I like this design of Killer Croc. It's kind of like the Arkham design.
Yeah, I like this design. It looks very much more monstrous.
Yeah, he even has a tail. He's like, the tail's new. But Batman's walking through the asylum and he's passing all of these other rooms. And you see this silhouette. And lightning strikes and you hear this maniacal laugh. So it's supposed to be the Joker.
And then the lightning flashes again and you see Two-Face.
You see Two-Face flipping a coin. And I'm like, these villains
It'll be a lot better.
would be a lot more interesting than Deathstroke. I'm sorry. Especially in this movie when Deathstroke sucks.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they made a sequel either. I actually wouldn't mind watching more of Damien as long as they made him vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean,
Not Superman.
superhuman, yeah, they make him too superhuman. But aside from that, the character dynamic between Batman and Damien was interesting. It was doing something new with the Batman character that we hadn't necessarily seen before.
Making him a father.
Yeah, I mean, putting him in this very unfamiliar scenario that he's
Yeah,
obviously not ready for.
Because you might make the argument, well, Dick Grayson was kind of like a son. Well, no.
He was an adopted son.
Dick Grayson was more...
He's more of a ward, an apprentice.
Yeah, he was much more an apprentice and a partner than he was a son.
Well, it depends on what you go by.
I go by the TV show where they don't really have many scenes, but they're just talking,
Well,
or at least proportionally.
Well, at the very least, it has that advantage of it's actually doing something different with the character, which, unlike Justice League War or even,
You're gonna have to tell me what Justice League War is after this.
it's basically an origin story of the formation of the Justice League, and Darkseid attacks Earth, so they have to come together and fight him off. That's it. There's There's nothing
Or just
original
kind of
about it.
setup.
Well, yeah, but they could have done something different.
Yeah, there's a lot of setups that are good, like Amazing Spider-Man and Man of Steel and Batman Begins.
Man of Steel was not good. Whatever. Son of Batman is good. The voice acting is
We've said that
excellent.
about 10 times now.
Well, the voice acting is excellent.
Except for Deathstroke, according to you.
The animation is silky smooth. The action scenes are thrilling, and
A bit far-fetched.
the script, despite some glaring problems
It's
and some missed opportunities,
it's well thought out, at least, for
Yeah.
what they did.
yeah, I mean there are missed opportunities and there are omissions that I could have gone without, but again, for what it is, I think you will enjoy yourself. So that's about all we got for Son of Batman. The next one is
Whatever
actually
comes next.
a few months away. It's Assault on Arkham, so until then.
Bye.